Welcome all to my short video about the topic give and take or give and receive. This is the question, or in this case, this is no question. The difference looks like a marginal difference in the first sight. But as you will find out, probably, hopefully, during this video, it makes some difference. And it is of special importance for teachers at the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. As students adopt the terminus technicus, the technical terms, they hear from their teacher what is a good thing and should be that way, that we all know what we are talking about and how to understand it. I think we go first to a short understanding about the words. What do words do? We can hear them or we can read them. And the words are what create in our brain thoughts. So our thoughts are dependent on the words that are used and of course also how we interpret them. The thoughts we have will then lead possibly, probably, to some actions now or later. So the word has, at the beginning here, has quite much to do with what will be the final action. Also, beside the understanding and interpretation of the word, you will see later in the video that it even has a universal importance when we talk about yin and yang in that context of take or receive. But now let's go on and have a look about what the two words to take and to receive actually mean. Here I have some examples, 3 of them, what is called to take. For example, you take an apple because maybe you are hungry, or maybe someone takes a pill, or you take a glass of water because you're thirsty. This all obviously is to take. I take something. Now when we go on to receive, it looks a bit different. In the first picture you can see you receive a gift. You would never say, if someone has a gift for you, I take a gift. You receive a gift. Also, in the second picture it's obvious that you receive from your environment or from the sun. In the third picture, you have a radio or a so-called receiver that receives electromagnetic waves and makes them audible. And in the last picture, you see an antenna. That is a device that is able to receive certain frequencies. And these frequencies that the antenna can receive are dependent on the characteristics, or you could say are dependent of the demand the antenna has to receive in what spectrum. Because there are tons of electromagnetic waves and different frequency, but the antenna, by its dimensions, is made for a specific frequency to receive there because she has a demand. When we talk about in the Keshe Foundation about the concept of giving and receiving, It's always in the context of plasmas that are interacting, be it on two reactors or on an emotional level or soul level, but for sure it's not on a physical level. And what you saw is that to take is mostly used on a physical level. You take something because you decided you want to do that. It is an action, it is active, and then you do that. And this is in a great contrast to receive that you will see later. So it's about plasma interaction. We know that there has to be a demand, a need, a susceptibility that a plasma can give, can feed to another plasma. If there is no demand or no need, there is no giving possible. We have many examples for that. When you use a health patch, for example, you only feel something from the health patch if you are hurt and have a pain or something. But if you are completely healthy and you put it on your arm, you probably will not feel anything. So, taking as a physical side is the same as the person that wants to take. Now let's go to the receiving. The receiving is a universal concept. You receive what is needed. Like, for example, plants receive the rain from the sky without grabbing some water and filling in a glass. And the earth receives from the sun the fields and rays that are necessary and needed for the life of this planet. So we can say taking is a physical action a person wants, and receiving is a universal concept that happens in balance and automatically. So, in plasma science, nothing got taken. We only and always receive what is needed to bring balance to a system, because the balance is all you can get that a system works at its best. Also, in your life, it is an indicator about your position. If you rely on taking what you think you want or need, or if you receive what the universe gives you. You can judge for yourself if you have the same overview of the totality, what is best for you, what is really your need. Who should decide, the universe or your wants? To conclude this short video, and I hope you can see the importance of the different meanings of taking and receiving, because it leads to different thoughts and actions also in your daily life. And to receive is the process the universe uses. And as we see ourselves as a part of the universe, or in fact as a universe in the universe of the many universes, we always try to be as much in harmony with the rules and concepts that are true in the universe. And this would be to receive. To complete this video, I will draw the circle to the beginning, as I said about yin and yang. You sure are familiar with this picture of the duality, polarity working together from one to the other and back in harmony. And I show you a few examples how you can build analogies to the yin side and the yang side. Let's go quickly through the examples I made here. On the left side, the yang side, we have the white, the day, the active, and the giving. And on the right side, the yin, we have the black, the night, the passive, and the receiving. You can imagine this as a constant flow between the two sides, as, for example, day and night. There is a flow from day to night and again to day and back, and also active and passive is continuously changing, and the phases between them are alternating. So this leads to equilibrium, to a dynamic balance. We will never reach a perfect balance, because everything would stand still if we reach the situation of a perfect balance, but it's a dynamic balance that is a constant flow between these two sides. As the day, for example, is flowing or going over to the night, there is the giving that has to flow to a receiving part that is passive. The giving part is active. You actively give. As we say, I give freely from my soul. And so you have to have a passive part that is a receiver. If we go back to the picture before with the antenna, you can see this there in the wave that is received. That's the red wave or curve. That is on the left side. It is in the positive, and it is on the one side of the dipole. And then you need the other side of the dipole, which is the ground, where the minus part, the receiving, also can happen. And this is exactly the same as in the giving and receiving. If you would call that giving and taking, as taking is an active action, is an active part, I take something, it's active, then it's not working in the sense how the universe works, because there is no flow. We know there is this flow from positive to negative, from active to passive, and so in this case we have to use the corresponding words of giving and receiving, and not to use giving and taking. It's just not working. You can also compare two persons. Let's say you would call the one person a taker. That would be someone who is grabbing everything he can and he wants to just have as much as possible. That would be a taker, and we would probably consider it a negative or a bad behavior. And on the other side, there could be a person, we call it is a receiver. And we can feel that there is a difference between a person that is a taker and a person that is a receiver, because the receiver person is just open for everything, for any field that he can receive because it is needed by him. As we all try to understand as good as possible the workings of the universe, of ourself and of life, I think it would be important to correctly apply these concepts in our teachings, that we use the right words that are expressing what we really think, and that it gets understood correctly by everybody who is reading or listening to you. And as I said before, it also, if we look on that, it will have its part, it will find a part in your daily life when you think about if you want and take, or if you have trust in to receive from the universe what is really needed and is the best for you in any case. I thank you for listening to this short video.